Revenge is a long, treacherous road, isn't it, Mr. Pendleton? Where do you suppose it ends?
Well, Silent Hill Downpour is obviously the newest game in the Silent Hill series. It's about Murphy Pendleton, who's a convict. He was on a prison bus transferring between two prisons, and it, of course, drove through Silent Hill, and something happened, and it wrecked. And Murphy wakes up in the bus crash, no one's around, and he has to wander into Silent Hill. Whereas the last game in the core series, Homecoming, focused a lot on combat. That wasn't very well received. So we've taken this back to the basically where the franchise started, with more of a atmospheric, slow burn horror where you're exploring and sort of the surroundings are making you nervous and anxious. It's a standalone story, so you don't have to have played the old games to enjoy Downpour. But on the same token, it still takes place in Silent Hill, so there's a lot of lore carried over from the old games, but we try to put that in the side quests. So we have these optional areas that you can explore and find. When you do that, you might find a puzzle or an item that will refer to the old games. So for fans, they can look for those and find that and kind of get excited about nods to the old games. But the core storyline is standalone, and you can approach it without ever having played Silent Hill before. As always is the case in Silent Hill, you're battling with the manifestations of your character's inner turmoil, their psychology. I can't give away too much since it's so closely tied to the story, but here on the show floor we have combat with a creature called the Screamer, who's a sort of drowned woman-looking creature, and if you get too far away from her, she'll scream, and it's a high-pitched shriek that will incapacitate you. We also have a creature called the Weeping Bat, which is this tall, lanky sort of creature, but when he moves, he's very constricted and sort of, if he's in a tight space, and he's kind of symbolic of solitary confinement, like you might experience if you were a prisoner in a prison. The gameplay is upgraded, of course. We're on modern consoles and all the advancements that come with that, but we've really tried to keep it to that core experience of fear and horror. So instead of having this arsenal of weapons where you have, 5 guns and a bazooka and a sword, we've dialed that back, so Murphy doesn't have a weapons inventory. All he really has is what he can hold in his hand. He can find a gun maybe and tuck it into his belt, but beyond that, he has to find everyday objects. We have chairs, bottles, shovels. These all become weapons in the game. And if you repeatedly use them or block or attack enemies, they'll break. And then you don't have anything in your hand and you have to scramble to find something before the monsters overtake you. So that's our biggest change. And we hope it really takes it back to that level of fear that the old games had.